Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Person's Haven. My name is Lindsay. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we are doing something different than we have done before. We are in my basement, in my crafting area. So far, my videos have mainly been about my garden, about preserving food, but the whole point of my channel was to bring to the world every part of our life, and crafting is a big part of mine. I love to craft. I love to craft lots of different crafts, but my favorite thing to do is to make things for people. It is getting close to Christmas time, so I am getting started on Christmas crafts. Typically, I would make a Christmas present for my mom, my grandma, my sister, my two sister-in-laws and my mother-in-law. And I also make Christmas tree ornaments every year. And that is typically between, I want to say 15 to 20 ornaments that I make for different people, my family. Sorry, this cat loves to craft. So anyways, Christmas tree ornaments, typically 15 to 20. That includes family, that includes some friends, but this year I actually am doing a special project. So I have a ton to get done, and I'll show you guys what that special project is. It is going to be so rewarding to do that, and I know the family that I'm doing it for is going to be so grateful and feel so blessed to have this surprise I'm making them. It's not really a surprise. They know, some of them know that I'm making them, but right now, what I've started and what I need to complete in order to find my craft table and get the rest of the stuff made is I am making a decorative planter box, I guess, of sorts, for my grandmother. What I'm planning on doing is I cut out these chunks of cardboard and I left little tabs on them. They fit in here. And I'm going to make a Christmas, I'd say Christmas, maybe wintry one that she could keep out in the winter, probably too. It's going to have maybe a Christmas bulb on it, but I think she could keep it out in the winter time. And then when spring comes, she can pull this whole thing off. Now, mind you, none of this is really connected yet. The only thing I'm debating yet is if I keep these on. I had them in there to stabilize, but I don't really think it needs to be stabilized. So she can pull this one out, and she can put a spring / summer one in with flowers and all sorts of pretty things. And then when spring and summer is gone, she can pull this one out and do a fall themed one. So she will have one for almost every season. I'm lumping spring and summer together. I might change my mind and do separate ones depending on the supplies I have. I am not buying any extra supplies for this. I'm using what I have. So come along. We're going to start working on this. I will try my best to explain kind of what I'm doing for any of those that may want to do something like this. But a lot of it's probably just going to be me working and maybe talking a little bit. And we'll see what becomes of it. So first and foremost, I got this planter box for my mother-in-law. She was going to donate to Goodwill. And I said, hey, I like that planter box. Can I have it? And she gave it to me. So this is the problem when you have lots of stuff. You don't have enough room for things. And I need something to set my hot glue gun on because the little legs do not work real well. I'll use this old piece of paper here. Okay, So I got this from her. And what my plan is after I get these is I'm going to stencil a stencil on my Cricut that says welcome. And I'm going to stick that stencil on. I'm going to paint welcome on here. And that way she can have it out all year round and it can welcome her guests. So let's get working on the winter slash Christmas. All right, so I moved the angle a little bit so you guys could kind of see what I'm working with. So my plan is to kind of map this out first and then glue it on when I feel like it's ready. So I really liked these two trees here. These are just kind of, I don't know, wire brush trees. They remind me of a toilet bowl brush. That's what they feel like. And then I have this clump of red berries. This is going to be my front. So I will let you guys see it from the front side when I get done. But I think I'm going to put these two trees here and this clump of red berries kind of in front of it for a pop of color. I really liked this red Christmas bulb, but and over here I actually have a space that doesn't have very much of this. I literally only had this much of this garland left, so I'm using what I got, like I said. So I kind of like this Christmas bulb like this, where just from the front it just looks like a red and gold ball. It doesn't even look like a Christmas bulb. And I feel like if I do that, that's how she could leave it out through the winter months. My other thought is I could do a green tree, but I thought that'd be too much green. Okay, well, I think I'm going to leave that red ball there. And I actually really like these three golden balls. They are connected. They were from a porch pot. So they're connected with a wire. So let me find my wire cutter. So this is technically a wire cutter. It's my husband's. I don't know how I ended up with his. It works. And I think what I'm going to do is stick these three golden bulbs there. I'm debating if I should do the trees in the middle and then bulbs on the outsides to kind of balance it. So if I do that, I want a third tree. Let's see what I got for trees down here. I got a little gold one, the big green one, or a tiny little green one. And that one, oh, maybe it would work. Let's see if we can do this. We might save these bulbs for later. And I don't want it to look exactly the same on this side, but I do want to stick with this theme. So we've got gold. Oh, okay. I got this, you guys. So if I put a gold bulb here with the red clusters, which is a little opposite of what's going on over there. And then let's see if I can find, let's try this one and see what it looks like. We'll obviously have to cut the Okay, I think I like this. I do. And then if we do a bow, my problem is I have to figure out how to make a bow. I've never made one before. I know there's a way, and typically you use wire, so I suppose. I don't think I want a bow. I don't. I think I like it like this. And let's start gluing, and then I will turn this around and you can see what the winter scape looks like. And we'll keep going with summer. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the trees where they're supposed to be. Well, let's start with the white tree. And we'll get this golden tree. I'm sorry if you can hear stomping around upstairs. Carl is up there with the dogs, and Molly is hyper tonight. And I'm not sure if it's just because it's been snowing here, so they've been stuck inside, or if it's because she's been hearing people outside. Here they come. Here she comes specifically, straight for her brother. And then last but not least, we'll glue the little one. Okay. I'm gonna flip this to a time lapse because I don't think you guys want to watch me in real time glue this on, but I will bring you guys back to see the finished product. All right, everybody, here is our finished winter arrangement. Remember, I'm still going to paint welcome on here, but I thought this was a pretty nice mixture of mixing gold and red. Gold is not my favorite Christmas color whatsoever, but this for some reason just said my grandma when I looked at it, and so this is what I went with. Everything is hot glued in place, and she can easily pick this out and replace it with the next one. So let's get our next piece of cardboard out and probably start the fall one next. Okay, fall. Okay, all my fall decorations I keep in here. And then I actually did buy a few more things that I thought were cute. Some of them are for me, like this. I don't know where I'll ever use it because I hardly remember to decorate for fall. But I got pumpkins. I got a little scarecrow man. So I did get ribbon, so we'll see if I decide on ribbon or not. Okay, so the first thing I want to do with the cardboard is cover it so it doesn't look like cardboard. And honestly, I think the easiest way is going to be put leaves all over it. Here's my thought. I have this bag of just flat leaves that did not come on a stick. And I'm almost wondering if I literally just put glue all over this thing and then just pile them on here. All right, let's set this over here. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm literally going to put hot glue down. And I think I'm going to do it flat on this flat surface. Okay. I'm just going to do a little parts at a time. My goal is to cover up already hardening, so I gotta hurry. My goal is to cover up the cardboard. Oh. All right, so this is what it's looking like so far. This will probably be the front where all the leaves are sticking out. I'm gonna switch you to a time lapse and we will get this covered in leaves. All right, so we have our leaves glued on. This side got a little taller than the other side, but that's okay. Let's see what it looks like. So I'm thinking this is going to be our front, just because it has the extra overlay of the leaves. So let's start decorating this. I do really like this bunch of flowers. And I also really like this. And I like this guy. And of course, we always need a pumpkin. The real question is, do we do a big pumpkin, a little pumpkin? Wondering if I kind of do that. I like these red berries too. The problem with some of this stuff is it's just going to blend right in to our leaves. So that's why I'm trying more of these vibrant colors. What do I want to do with this stuff? I like this stuff. I really like it. Let's see if I can. In my box, I do have some dark colored cattails. Ooh, I have white little pumpkins. Maybe I'll do little pumpkins. And I have some acorns. So I know that a lot of people feel like sometimes making a gift is the cheap way out. But for me, It brings me joy to make people things. It really does. I think I'm going to do something similar as this, where I have like a big thing in the middle and then kind of like two things off to the side maybe. I don't know if I like this stuff like that. All right, well, while I'm here deciding, let's put you back onto a time lapse because this may take a while. All right, everybody, so this is my finished fall decoration topper for my box for my grandma. This one was a little more difficult for me just because I had more limited things and a lot of my stuff was the same color, but I do love how this turned out. So I have 2 down, I have 1 to go. All right, everybody, we are back to finish the last topper for my grandma's Christmas present. I am intending on using items from my wedding decorations that I never got to use because I got married during COVID and everything we planned went up in smoke in front of our eyes. So I have a whole tub of things that I'm going to use. My only negative is I don't have that many flowers. So I am going to take apart the pew bows that were made for the church pews and use those flowers. I thought, oh, maybe my flowers aren't here. I was going to say, I thought I had a big tub of flowers. Yes, I do. All right, let me move this out of the way. This will make my life a lot easier. In this tote, I have flowers. I made that from my sister-in-law's wedding flowers that she was going to use but then changed. Apparently I had more fall things I could have used. I forgot I had this tote. So I got a bunch of flowers from my wedding, which are these pink and orange flowers. I bought some blue flowers for my wedding, anticipating that maybe I would use them, but I never did. I found my wire cutter that I was looking for. And I have some white roses in here. So let's start with covering this cardboard. Now my thought was to staple this down and then kind of make little ripples. As we go. And this is the exact width of our cardboard, maybe a little wider. Okay, maybe what I'll do to make it a little thicker to cover up the cardboard a little better, I will do it double wide. So I'm just gonna go down this row with a few staples. And then I'll do the end here and the other side. All right, and then I'm just gonna loop it back and make little bumps, I think. All right, let's see here. This could be a bad idea, I'm not sure. Oh, maybe I'm just gonna do 2 layers wide here. I'll cut a little extra so each end is looped a little bit. And then I'll fill it in with the flowers. All right, so I'll put 1 staple here. And then, okay, so let's do that and then use our flowers and the leaves to fill in the rest. So for flowers, we have blue, which might blend in. We have orange. We have these blue long flowers. We have red. We have white. Multiple white. Here's some pink ones. All right, everybody, so here is the finished product for our spring/summer arrangement for my grandma's basket. The last thing that we have to do to complete this gift for my grandma is to paint welcome across the front of here. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to use my Cricut program to help me cut out some stencils that I can stick on and paint and peel off. So let me get the computer up and running and I will show you how I do that. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my computer to turn on, I measured the box that we're giving my grandma and I determined that the size of the letters need to be 12 inches long, which is as long as this paper, so we're just going to use the whole paper. And then 3 inches high, so I'm going to measure it out to 4. This paper that I'm using is actually a stencil paper that I bought. It does not permanently stick onto a project. So I've used this for other painting projects and I love it. So I got this measured. I'm going to put this away to clear my area here and then we will get the computer up and going, and I'll show you that program if you've never used it before. Milo, hey, get down. All right, so here I have the computer, and I am going to go to my Cricut Design Space. All right, so we are on the Cricut Design Space. We are going to start a new project. We want a blank canvas. All right, so we're just going to do text. All right, we only needed one text box, and I got us 3 because I was impatient. So we're going to edit this, and I'm going to do all capitals. Welcome. And I like to put it up here just to see where I'm at. But our current height is 0.82. Our current length is 4.77. Our height can go up to 3. And our length can just be shy of 12. We're going to probably get timed out with the 12, which will be fine. All right, and then here is my Cricut. So we need to open this. We need to turn it on. We need to get our mat and put our paper on it. All right, so once we have our project that we want, we're going to say make. And then it will bring up the next page where we choose which mat we have. So over here, we're doing a basic cut. We are on a mat, and we are on a 12 by 12 mat. We are not mirroring it because we need it to face out towards us. You would only mirror it if you were ironing it on. We push continue. And then for me, I have bookmarked a bunch of different vinyls, but I honestly use the chalkboard vinyl for everything because it seems to cut through the vinyl well of any kind, and I don't have to go back and mess with trying to cut places that didn't cut. I also choose more pressure, and next we need to load this into our machine. All right, so we have our mat with our stencil paper. This button here is flashing. You guys can't really see that. Let me see if I can zoom you around. There you go. This is our load button. So we're going to push load and it will suck our mat in. And then next, the C button will flash, and that is our cut button. So we push that and it will cut. It takes a little more patience because it takes a little more time. All right, so once this starts to flash again, that means unload the mat. So we unload it, and you can see it's got it cut out for us. All right, so the next process that we need to do is a process called weeding. So we need to pull out the insides of all of these letters and dispose of them, and then we will get this stencil onto our box. So how I do it is I push my hook in and kind of pull towards the letter. It's going to peel up the letter, and then I just unravel it, pull it out. And then we just continue to do that with every other letter that as we go. All right, and then the next thing I need to do is grab some transfer paper. All right, so for the transfer paper, we need a piece big enough to cover this entire piece with a little bit extra. So I'm going to cut on this line here. What this transfer paper does is we will stick it to our stencil paper, and the stencil paper will stick to the transfer paper and pull up, and then we can take that whole thing and stick it onto our box because we want all of this to come up together. So you're going to peel off the entirety of the transfer paper, put it over top. It doesn't have to be straight, doesn't have to be perfect. Just all the letters have to be on the paper. I then rub the front of it to make sure everything gets in contact. And then I flip it over. And I also rub the back to make sure it's going to release. And then we will peel the back of the transfer paper off, and it will leave that paper right on. Sorry, we peeled the back of the stencil paper off, and it'll leave it on the transfer paper. And then we are going to take this. I'm going to center it to the best of my ability. Okay, and then we're going to rub on the blue area one more time to let it release. We're going to peel the transfer paper off carefully, especially with the stencil paper because it's not very sticky, on purpose because you don't want it to stick and stay on whichever surface you're using it as a stencil on. And then this we can technically reuse multiple times if we want to. I don't know that I will, but I'm going to go back over one last time and make sure all of this is stuck so that way when we start painting it doesn't bleed. Okay, so I'm gonna paint this. I'm using Waverly Inspirations chalk paint. It's just some that I had at home. Wasn't gonna buy special. And the color of this one is hazelnut. I thought brown would look pretty good on this. I'm going to get it all painted in. And then I'm actually going to peel this stencil off right away. Add a little more paint here on the C. Just because there's some streaks. And then I'm going to peel this up right away. And it should be good to just dry. It's fairly dry already. Chalk paint dries pretty fast. And then just like we did the weeding last time, for this, we kind of do that for this. And it actually did not even blemish the O. All right, so we're going to let this dry. We're going to get it packaged up, and this wraps up my grandma's Christmas present. All right, everybody, I just wanted to recap what each piece will look like now that it's painted. So this right here is the Christmas / winter topper. And this one right here is the fall topper. And this last one here is the spring and summer topper. Well, everybody, that wraps up our video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sticking with me as I went through making this gift for my grandma. I know it's a little different than what we've been doing in the past, but this is really something that I am passionate about, making things for others, especially gifts, because handmade gifts are so, so precious. And it also helps save money because I have everything already. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Let me know if this is something you want me to continue. Give me ideas of things to do different. I would love to hear from you guys. While you wait for my next upload, I will leave a few videos on the side here for you to enjoy. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a good day.